Hello everyone, and welcome to another wonderful Wednesday webinar. We've got some amazing wisdom to be dispensed now out from a very old mate, absolute legend, Pat Smith from the Veggies Catering Campaign, 40-year activist for the environment, for community, for veganism, for animal rights, who's been there day in, day out, week in, week out for 40 years, feeding the movement of movements that has helped the environment and community and all the other species that we inhabit this planet with. A voice for the voiceless. He's a relentless campaigner like myself. Can't big him up enough. We love Pat. So he's going to share some of his knowledge and journey there from 40 years of campaigning. And just to say, never doubt that relentless campaign gets results. It has gone from early 80s where they started to, veganism is now mainstream. It's available in most of the shops that you see, and more people are realizing it's the number. It's a top solution for for looking after the environment, to go vegan or to reduce your animal intake as much as possible. It's better for the environment and the climate. Okay, Patrick, over to you. I'll get the first slides up. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay, right, thank you. So firstly to say I'm in a field in Shropshire at an Earth First gathering. So the signal is very shonky. But we will persevere. Thanks to Phoenix, A, for inviting me to do this webinar, but B, for doing all the techie stuff behind the scenes, running the slideshow, streaming the videos, because there definitely won't be enough signal here to do that myself. As I say, we're at the Earth First Gathering. This is the 30th Earth First Gathering this year, and Veggies has been at every single one of those since day one, as part of our 40 years of campaign catering generally. And one of the things we'd like to say is that hopefully a little bit due to our influence, movements like Earth First, Radical Roots, Climate Camps, and so on, XR, have a plant-based vegan message. But sometimes it's a little bit hidden behind the scenes. It's not up front and central. This webinar came about tonight because in the Climate Emergency Network, someone posted a comment just a few days ago, like one day after I joined the group. Someone said, why aren't we talking about the elephant in the room? Why aren't we talking about the cows in the fields? Why will no one talk about food, livestock, and its impact on the environment? So that's what this is all about. If you'd like to go to the next picture, feel free to drop my face on that because I've got a bit of stuff going on with my attire. But so that's so food, friends or food is what we've been talking about for all of our 40 years. But the next slide being the Rainbow Centre, Nottingham Rainbow Centre. Phoenix was very much involved with the London Rainbow Centre. Nottingham Rainbow Centre, established in 1984, was an early precursor, if you like, of the climate emergency centres, in that it was a rented premises, autonomous, run by volunteers, housed all kinds of different projects from 1984 through to the year 2000. I'm not watching the screen, but you may be seeing on the screen a photograph of the old Rainbow Centre building.
Yeah, we got that up.
Which is coming up there. And from there, in the year 2000-ish, we got fed up of renting a run-down, grotty old building with the rain running down the inside of the walls over the electric meters, with the tiles falling off the roof and the windows falling out. So we moved from the Rainbow Centre that you can see there, may or may not be able to zoom in, and moved to what is now known as the Sumac Centre, which is a climate action centre, an animal rights, human rights, environment centre in the Forest Fields neighbourhood of Nottingham. So that's where we are and how it links in with what we're doing now. So if you'd like to go to the next screen, which is a book cover by Kathleen Janaway called First Hand, First Rate.
Yeah.
Now, this, when we're talking about why aren't we talking about the environment in relation to livestock? This isn't rocket science. This isn't new. We've known about climate change, as people know, climate change, or global warming as known, has been known about since the 1800s. It was known that if you put carbon into the atmosphere, burning fossil fuels, then the climate is in danger of changing. This book cover, if you go to the next slide, you'll see that this, which is a link to a Facebook group, totally bizarrely, the day after Phoenix invited me to do this webinar, I rarely go to Facebook, but I went to Facebook on this occasion, and you might scroll down a little bit to the conversation in this Dull Vegan Club. Never come across this group before, but there you go. Basically, someone in this group said, first hand, first rate. This is a pretty damn good book. It's got lots of recipes. It's well, as you see, it's saying dairy products and factory farm food is damaging the planet. And this was published by Catherine Janaway in 1974. Now, Kathleen Janaway was at one time secretary of the Vegan Society. She then went on to form the Movement for Compassionate Living. And we have a sticker, and we printed their booklets, their newsletters on our community print resource that we had. Kathleen sadly died some 10 or 15 years ago, although she did help with the setup of our Sumet Centre. And it was her influence by her coming to talk to the animal rights group in the Vegetarian Society in Nottingham that basically influenced our whole philosophy of campaigning. And there's a sticker that was produced in the 80s that says global warming can be reversed if we take livestock off the land and plant trees. As simple as that. I mean, it's such a simple message. And so this has been talked about since not only 1974, but in our case since 1984. So and there's lots of other resources that Movement Compassionate Living have, and there will be a link probably somewhere to their list of obligations that are also available from us wherever we go to do our campaign catering. Wherever we do our campaign catering, we take along information for action to raise issues about climate, animals, people, human rights, animal rights, planetary rights. So if we go to the next link, which is our campaign archive. Now, this was done in 2010. So not only have we been talking about climate change and animals and livestock since 1974, since 1984, by the time you came to 2010, we were so busy doing it that we didn't have any more time left to actually maintain our archive. So this is our archive as it was in 2010.
Wow.
So that's that. But the first thing you'll see is there's a link that says amazing slideshow. And if you'd like to click that, either click the photograph, click that picture of the plane further above, click the plane, and then we'll sit and watch this this slideshow for a few minutes. Hopefully it'll be good enough on your screen to be able to read it yourselves, because my screen's not good enough to be able to read it to you. Or somebody else out there might be able to interpret it.
It's trying to open there, I think. It's a little bit slow. I'm going to close a couple of previous windows.
So this slideshow is produced by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 2006. So United Nations Food and Agriculture, very well researched, very well documented, and a trivial little slideshow that is telling us the impact of livestock. It's called Livestock's Long Shadow. And our friends here at Earth-Based Gathering that have been helping me with connection and signal were telling me that the authors of the report were so heavily leaned on by the livestock industry that this slideshow was very nearly not, or that report, the Livestock Long Shadow, was very nearly suppressed. That looks like the slideshow is not going to run. So
I'm going to try again, just clicking on the. I'm going to try again, just clicking on the.
There you go. So this is about 2 or 3 minutes. Livestock Long Shadow.
Oh, is that it? That's it. That one there is it? Okay.
Yeah. That's,
all right.
that's
Gotcha.
Exactly
Okay.
So a third of all life on the planet has become extinct in recent years. And the next slide is telling you that a lot of people say that the 18% figure that is related to the livestock impact on climate change is actually very much underrelated. But this guy who's Colin Campbell, he reckoned that half of global emissions can be related to livestock. Livestock farming is the most significant contributor to today's most urgent environmental problems. Urgent action is required to remedy the situation, said the United Nations in 2006. If everybody abstained from meat for 1 day a week, it would take 13 megatons of greenhouse emissions off the planet, like saving millions of car journeys. Taking 2 days will cut down 73 million flights from London to Ibiza. 3 days a week of going plant-based would be equivalent to the goal set by the British government to reduce household emissions by the year 2020, and this was 14 years before that. 70% of rainforest land and 91% of land deforested is for livestock production. Every second rainforest equivalent size football field is cut down to produce 257 hamburgers. People say, oh, vegetarians, they destroy the rainforest. There's more soya from the rainforest in a meat eater's diet than there is in a vegan diet, because you're eating it via the cows. And it's not only the soy, it's not only the methane, it's also nitrous oxide released from the 5.5 billion tons of cow and pig waste also contributes to climate change. An average European cow releases enough methane to be the equivalent of a family-sized car driving for 70,000 kilometers. 2,000 liters of water produce 1 kilo of soya. 20,000 liters produce 1 kilo of beef, 10 times as much. 80% of that, $32 trillion could be saved by converting to plant-based diet. People should eat whole foods, plant-based diet, and avoid consuming beef, poultry, and milk to minimize and reverse climate change, said the United Nations in 2006. So that's that one. When that is, I ask you to go to the next.
There we go, Albert Einstein. Oh, man.
Yeah, there you go.
That was incredible facts. That is kind of part of the discussion we've been having on the CEC chat this week, was a lot of people saying, about the elephant in the room, about animal farming and its effect on the climate. And I think if we could turn that slideshow into easily printable sheets that could go next to a vegan cafe at a lot of these centres reaching out on the high street, it would make people go vegan or reduce the number of days they're doing other things.
Yeah.
And it
If
is.
you'd like to go back to the previous page from which this link was taken.
Okay, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's scroll down a little bit until you get to what causes more damage, livestock or driving cars. If that page reloads, that's the Veggies
Might need a reload, but it's
page.
not reloading well at the moment. Let me just try and see if I can find that. Let me close that one. Let me try go back to your original list.
Yeah.
What's called Veggies Climate Archive 2010. That one was that.
Yeah.
Click on the plane. Yes.
Yeah, the archive one.
Amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So just scroll down until you find the next graphic. This one here. Now get that centered on the page. So see the polar bear, and this is just a very simple little slideshow that scrolls through. It's only like seconds, but it's saying that livestock production basically causes far more damage than all the cars that you drive. I didn't get time to actually dig out the link, but when we go to an event like here at the Earth First Gathering, we've only driven our diesel van 3 times this year. It usually stays parked in the yard, and we use an electric cargo bike or an electric car to do most of the events that we do. But if we do have a page on our website which says that if we drive, say, 100 miles, we will burn a certain amount of fuel, which will create a certain amount of carbon emissions. But if we get one person, or if we get 100 people to eat vegan as a result of that journey, we will save 100 times as much as the carbon embedded in our journey to get there. If one person, as a result of doing that campaign catering at that event, was to go vegan, we would save thousands of times more than the embedded carbon of getting to the event. That's the impact that vegan campaign catering can have on tackling the climate situation. So that's that one. We'll now scroll down. Oh, now the next one is a little bit of a music interlude. This before it plays, if you're ready to get it lined up.
The next slide. You mean the next slide one? Yeah,
this is the Lush Fundings charity slam that they did at Glastonbury some 10 years or more ago.
Well,
in fact, 2015. They asked 10 of the charities that they support, including ourselves and others, to do like a 3-minute presentation about their work. And then there was a vote, and those that won the vote got some funding. And actually, it being Lush, everybody else got the funding anyway. It was just done as a bit of a little giggle, really. And so, yeah, if you don't play, it will speak for itself.
When we were planning this 7 weeks ago, we thought we could do a nice PowerPoint presentation, or we could spend 3 weeks solid just getting ready to do an information for action badger cafe space around the corner. So we chose to do that instead. So I've just pulled at random some stuff out of our information panels in the back of the van to show you what we're about. Veggies have been campaigning for humans, animals, and the environment since 1984. That's our mission in life. We're involved from the early days. You may have heard about something about the McLibel campaign that stood up to McDonald's in the High Court. We didn't have quite the same stamina as Helen and Dave. We were in court with them side by side all the way through as much as we could be, and they won. McDonald's thought they won, but with our help, with the help of all the supporters that we tried to raise, we prevailed. Oh yes, over the years we've been doing lots of things for 25 years and more. So little idea of some of the things we do. We're written on the back of our T-shirts every year. So just a slight brief list from our 25th year anniversary T-shirt. We go through all kinds of things like, do you remember apartheid? We were there in Hyde Park with gas bombs on our shoulders walking through when you got to do cooking on trains, you can't do that anymore. Do you remember when they used to have the last dolphin in Walker Marina? The last dolphin, we were there supporting the campaigns outside. Do you remember the Line Export campaign in Dover and stuff like? We were there. Now, what we're doing now, I'm going to take one of the T-shirt. All of this to say that if you want to be an environmentalist, don't eat meat. So at the moment this year, we're doing things like we catered for a juggling convention at the beginning of the year. We're juggling for a 6-day road race later in the year. Juggling, catering, can't remember what to say there. We're catering for an anti-racist football tournament, but more importantly, we cater for camps and gatherings and action. It's all about the action. We cater for the Animal Rights Gathering at the end of the month. We cater for Peace News Summer Camp. You may have seen our field oven around there, which is getting a bit broken at the moment, so we need some money to make it neat and plan. Because the environment help. Perhaps I shouldn't say this. We took our field oven away at the beginning of the first summer gathering, there would be no cake. But after we leave here, there's also the reclaim the parrot camp. I'm sure they're going to want some cake as well. Straight after this event, our field kitchen goes to Calais. Full credit to Calais Migrant Solidarity, but our burners and cookers aren't big enough. We've only got tiny pots that only feed 150 people. We need some bigger pans. We need some bigger burners. We need your support. Now, as you know, those who know us will know we do all sorts of things like free food giveaways, outside McDonald's. So we're part of a radical network of important things. If you want to give us your support.
The legendary Veggies Catering Campaign. The next up.
Okay, if you want to put me back on screen.
Absolutely brilliant.
I'll tell you a little bit of the.
You back on screen, yeah?
So the background of that was that we were asked to do this presentation of about the work of Veggies, and I said to someone, hold my phone, record this interview, and of course they held the phone, and the minute I started talking, they turned the phone sideways, and everything is done. So hopefully you all had your heads sideways on as you were watching that. So that's the story of the Lush charity slam back in the day. And you'll notice I've changed T-shirt because I mentioned the McLibel campaign, and so I now have my McLibel T-shirt on, a campaign we're very honoured to be part of back in 80. Well, McDonald's tried to sue us in 87, 88. So when they then went after the London Greenpeace group in 1990-ish, we were very happy to support that campaign in court and on the streets. So the next little video is from Marble Arts, the first Extinction Rebellion. This shows us the simplicity of taking vegan food on the streets, but also getting a message out to the people attending, because it's the people at the demos that need to have this information as much as the public. Because if we in the movement don't understand the importance of tackling the livestock issue, then how can we get that message out to the wider public? So this is us feeding the first Extinction Rebellion with veggies of Marble Arch, if that is ready to play.
Yep, that's queuing up. Brilliant. Yeah, so packed with facts, so much. That's incredible. Really, really amazing.
So when the next slide, veggies is about the mixes, veggies.org.uk/mixes. We basically sell burgers, but our burgers are made with organic soya from France, not China or Brazil, says the label on the box. And when Extinction Rebellion was launched, we thought, what can we do to step up our game? So what we did was we closed down our frozen food section and concentrated on the dry mixes, which could be put in the post, kept in a larder, no refrigeration required, and it's available through. We use it ourselves for catering at all kinds of events. We set it mail order, and we send it to other caterers so they can do the same thing themselves without any frozen food or chilled food chain. So the impact on the savings of resources and impact on the climate by taking away the entire frozen food chain and chilled food distribution has to be huge. So that's how we stepped up to make our burgers more ethical as a result of that. Now, going right up to date, the next one is a little video from Elbit.
Oh, wow.
Shenstone. We actually drove past Shenstone on our way to get here, outside Elbit, which is an Israeli arms factory at Shenstone in Staffordshire.
It's ready when you want to play?
A bit more history. Yep, you can play it right now.
Cooperative who provide vegan food and have brought the lovely food and drink for you today. So just a few words.
Thank you so much. Thank you. As ever, it's a privilege to be amongst such people, and I don't know how I can follow some of the things we said today, but I will say a few words just to maybe break out of this and give a few pointers to what goes on in your lives and how you take things forward. So Veggies Catering Campaign from Nottingham is going since 1984. Since then, we've, as a caterer, we've never had any involvement with McDonald's, Coca-Cola, with Barclays Bank. And surprise, surprise, those organisations are still involved in things that we're struggling against today. Back in the day, we were very happy to be part of the anti-apartheid movement. We stopped apartheid in South Africa. The message is we will stop apartheid in Israel and Palestine. In all that time, we've been very happy to be guided by the Ethical Consumer magazine. The Ethical Consumer organisation are very much the heart of the BDS, the Boycotts, Divestment, Sanctions movement. And in their latest magazine, a whole article about Palestine, of course. And they remind us, I'm sure everyone here knows, but people who may hear this further afield, they tell us that despite legal ways to protest being increasingly restricted, the activist network Palestine Action is continuing to take non-violent direct action against the Israel arms trade in Britain. So far, since its 2020 launch, they've had a significant impact expanding to Italy, France, the US, and have included an Elbit factory permanently shut down in Oldham. Elbit's London headquarters permanently shut down. Fisher German, a property manager, dropped Elbit as it was targeted by activists. So we take, as you'll have seen, Veggies is a streetwise vegan campaign caterer. So this is what we do. We also do Glastonbury Festival weddings and all the rest of it. But all those years we've been around, we like to reinforce the message given just a moment ago that this is one struggle, one fight. We've come from the animal rights movement, but we also support environmental campaigns, human rights campaigns. We'll be going to a climate action in a few weeks' time. We'll be doing the Derby Women's Day. We're doing a campaign outside an animal research laboratories. So this is one struggle. This is one fight. We're all in it together. So when we will go away from here, we should take heart of the victories we've had in the past, remind ourselves that we have closed down apartheid in the past, and we will close down apartheid in the future. So keep up the struggle. Thank you so much.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
Patrick.
There we are then.
Incredible.
So you'll see I've now switched into my bread not bombs t-shirt, which someone very kindly gave me the Earth for his winter mood, written in Gaelic actually. So
we'll have to jump over to you in a sec there. Let me get the next one queued up.
So yeah, if you just want to drop back to me, so I can show off my next t-shirt.
Yeah, you as well.
So just close that. So anyway, yeah, people might be wondering why we're outside an arms factory. We're vegan campaigners. What's that got to do with being outside an arms factory? I only heard just this week gone by that the biggest contributor to climate change, global warming, blah, 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 is the US military. And the military is not counted in the figures. So people know about trains, they know about cars, they know about flights. They're starting to know about livestock, but the military is not counted. And yet their emissions are bigger than possibly many of the other sectors that we're concerned about. As well as, of course, what will be the biggest environmental damage? War. Why are there so many wars? Fighting for water, for oil, for land to grow the livestock. So many of these conflicts are for these capitalists, let's say, these profit-based reasons. So that's why we're proud to be supporters of Food Not Bombs. We've hosted Keith McHenry from them several times when he visited the UK. So that's that. So the next slide is actually a little slide of us at CND at Lakenheath. So you just pop that one up briefly. That one there.
No news, Lakenheath. Yeah. Is that a slide or a video?
It's just a slide, so it should be quite straightforward.
Give me one sec. Share screen there to the slide. There you go.
Okay. It should be coming up shortly. So there we are. So Veggies Catering, food for peace. So we've been we mentioned earlier the anti-apartheid movement things in Hyde Park when we actually set up a cafe running gas burners in the guards van of the train. Actually, it was that occasion actually was a CND chartered train going down to the CND demos in the 80s that had tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. So for the CND demo back in the 80s in Hyde Park, we literally, there was a chartered train, and in the guards van were a gas bottle camping cooker serving veggie burgers on the train. You couldn't believe it. But then we stuck with that all the way through. This picture is from a Lakenheath demo some time ago, but we were back at Lakenheath just a month ago because despite the Greenham Women's Peace Camp, who recently did a 40th anniversary tour that we were pleased to host at the Sumac Centre in Nottingham, despite them kicking cruise missiles, American bases off Greenham Common, they're now getting ready to bring strategic battlefield drone-based nuclear weapons back to Lakenheath. So we are there again. These things just keep, unfortunately, going on and on and on. So that's that. If you look at the next slide, actually,
Next one with the sink, Veggies Catering.
which may not, I see it hasn't got a live link there, so the next one might not work. So you might want to skip that one. We're running out of time anyway, so perhaps we'll move on.
That's all right. We can flow a bit. I mean, it's absolutely incredible information really here, and it's really good to see the presentation. You see the depth of the campaigning here that's gone on for so many years. Like you're like Jeremy Corbyn, you've been on the right side of a lot of things for a long time, and apartheid to the present day.
We'll skip the next one. Burgers Not Bombs. The link's there. It basically. Oh, yeah. So just stay with what you've got on the screen. That's perfectly fine. The Burgers Not Bombs one is basically a big 2-page article that Peace News did about us about 10 or 15 years ago. And the hot news is the next edition will have a hot article interview with Katie, who's the new Veggies coordinator, who took over when I retired a couple of years ago. And so she's interviewed in the next edition of Peace News. So look out for that. The next link there, which we won't bother look at now, is a hashtag on what we insist on referring to as Twitter, which is various posts which are tagging Veggies 40 years, hashtag Veggies 40 years. And what we're doing in our 40th year is revisiting some of the campaigns that we've been involved with over the last 40 years. And so when we go back to a campaign and revisit it and give it a little bit of a boost, then that's you'll find that on our Twitter. I tend to do Twitter more than other things because it's quick. You don't get sucked in, I find. Okay,
that's
so
a good
that's
tip for the
that.
networking, actually. Yeah, I can post to Facebook. So that's the 40-year one.
So yeah, so you have a little screen. There we are. That's today, and this is various events that we've been involved with over the last. Oh yeah, so
the big one is up now. Video 40 seconds.
Yes. Okay. Hang on, let's see what's happening here. Oh, here we go.
Okay, that's that one. I mean, the amount of campaigns you're supporting there is incredible. Just the depth of it. So, do you want to make history? Is that the next one?
So basically, with that one was that the big one, which was the April Extinction Rebellion last year, was it? We set up a field kitchen in a park in central London, just down the road from Parliament, and we fed 3,000 of the Extinction Rebellion rebels during that time, entirely by donation. But then when the march came past, you had to struggle, even though all the food was vegan across the entire weekend. All the kitchens, all the food was vegan. You had to struggle to find the word vegan mentioned in the actual march. So there was one valiant person there saying, "Look, take this elephant out of the room, take these cows out of the fields. We've got to talk about veganism." So this is the final thing. Then, if you'd like to show this one, I've rabbited on enough, and now here's a little slideshow which will bring the whole thing into perspective, and then we're done.
Okay, so this is the slideshow. Just going to hit it from the top. Slow loading there. Go for it.
Excellent.
Powerful.
So there we go. Thank you very much for persevering through that lot. Back to my green t-shirt. So we got about 20 minutes for Q&A. Then if there's any questions out there, over to you, Phoenix.
All right, fantastic. That was really, really, really inspiring. Thank you so much. It's just, maximum respect. You've been, campaigning for so long, for so many issues and campaigns. I didn't realise the full breadth there, really, from anti-apartheid through to the arms trade, so the animal rights to women's rights to the environment to climate. Veggies have been there through Earth First, through so many movements, providing food, maximum respect, and really, a massive solution. And it's not just the food campaign. There's a constant info stall about incredible info all the way. So, folks, if you've got any, you can make a comment, you can have a question, you can have feedback, whatever you would like to share. Let us know. You can stick your hands up down there in the reactions thing by doing that, or just stick your hand up. But it's easier if you use the reactions thing down the bottom. Let me see if we can make this visible. Remove spotlight. There we go. Okay, Helen. Leeds University, quick off the mark. Helen.
Okay, I'm going to be very unpopular here, I think. I have a big problem with the fact that every time there's something about climate change, the vegans come on saying, the one thing you can do is stop eating meat, it'll change the world. It's like giving the oil and gas people a free ride.
Okay. Any more?
Yeah.
Or should I
Take
take
a variety of tactics.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. There is this meme about gobby vegans. Always, how do you know there's a vegan? They'll soon tell you. But how do you know when there's a meat eater in the room? Because they'll instantly pick on the vegans. And so, as I mentioned, we've been banging on about this for 50 years.
Yeah.
So it's so little known about. So when we have to jump into a conversation, it's not saying one thing or another. It's saying these things are important. We minimize our transport. I haven't flown for 20, 30 years.
But what I'm saying is, I think to find it gets it kind of gets drowned out. It turns into an argument about vegan, and the oil and gas companies get let off the hook.
Well, I believe the oil and the gas companies have got the financial influence to sway the argument and put out false science, as ESSO had been proved to have been doing for the last 100 years. And we're just individuals doing our bit. We are passionate. There's no doubt about that. We're passionate because we are passionate to get a message out, which isn't getting out. That people just won't hear. Now, ourselves at Veggies, we're not, I hope, angry vegans. I was held back for several years because our founders, bless them, were quite strident. And I said, "Oh, that's what vegans are like." It took me a little while to adopt. So our message isn't, I hope, to pick on people, but to say to people that are alternatives, there are solutions, there are things you can do. As that slideshow said, the United Nations one, if people to go plant-based for 1 day a week, we're not saying go vegan. We're saying go vegan 1 day a week, and you could have the same influence of taking many thousands of cars off the road. Go for 2 days a week. It's like taking thousands of flights out of the air. Ideally, obviously, as vegans ourselves, with a passion for humans and animals and the environment, we have a passion, and we would encourage people to go as far as they are able to go.
But that's a good point. And I think also to recognise... Sorry, go on, Pat. It's to recognise that there are many different issues, and we need to campaign on many of them. And this is just one of the many things. And we need to talk about fossil fuels. We need to talk about, there's camera, Zoe beaming in. We need to talk about the fossil fuel and the oil companies, as well as, animal farming, as well as, a whole range of other issues, human rights. Welcome, Zoe. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I could have an hour long. I'm quite happy to go somewhere and eat vegan. When I do eat meat, it is a tenth of the meal, a 20th, just a little bit. I am not a big meat eater, and I get quite sickened by someone who will eat a 10-ounce steak or something, because I think that's just gross and greedy. But on the other hand, I was in Africa, and there I was taken to a family for a meal, and it was goat soup followed by goat's intestines, followed by goat's this and goat's that, and rice. Well, ugali actually, but they can't grow the vegetables.
Sure. However, you are already doing a huge thing as part of our campaign, because as you say, you're eating far less meat than many people. You can big yourself up for that. You could say, I don't eat very much meat. I have a little bit of meat. I still have a bit of meat, but you already have a great impact, as well as you reducing transport and energy and all the other things.
Yeah,
you're already having a huge impact the way you go.
It kind of needs to go back to like it was in when it was rationed in the wartime. One ration of bacon for the whole family.
But in terms of people in other countries, we're not talking about people in other countries. We're talking about the rich Westerners who are eating so much meat in the UK, in Europe, in America, that the people in the, I don't like to say the hungry countries, blah, blah, blah. At the time of Live Aid, 1985, very influential for us, they were bringing grain from Ethiopia to feed animals in the UK, to make burgers, to sell at Wembley, to raise funds to send to Ethiopia. So, we are aware of the global picture, but we are also aware that the reason that they are hungry is because we are overfed. The reason that they are poor is because we are wealthy. The reason that they are here as refugees and asylum seekers is because we were there. So we are aware of the global impact. But what we ourselves here and now can do is to reduce our impact just as far as we can. One day, one meal, 1 week, one lifetime. Each of us can take our personal steps to reduce our impact.
Every bit helps.
And then
Every bit helps. Everything we can do, and I think that's come across clear.
Yeah, I must admit, I really like.
But everyone needs to make the changes that they can.
Yeah, I like the way you spoke. It was not strident, and I have met very strident in the past.
Absolutely, we all have, and I have to excuse my passion here. I find myself maybe getting a bit heated, a bit passionate, because you have to excuse our passion because we are so deeply embedded in the cruelty, the hunger, the water pollution, the land pollution, the loss of resources, that we get fired up. But we do commend anybody that takes any steps on this journey. Every step is just one step on the path. And we all started that way. I ate meat for 20 years, 30 years, and then at one point I took a step, and then I took another step, and then, I look back now and think, I wish I'd taken those steps sooner. I wish I'd taken those steps faster. But we all do what we can in our own way. And, I commend the amount that you're doing, because you're here in this, in this group. So you're obviously doing a lot. Take that, your passion, out to the wide world, as I'm sure you're doing, then that is amazing. Thank you so much.
I think one of the things that stimulated this, having this week was, talking about I think Kate was saying that there's not, in a lot of the recent government reports about what's accelerating climate change, they are not verbalizing or writing into the reports about the mass factory farming agriculture that is affecting the climate. And she was saying, why isn't that mentioned more in the things that our movements and things are doing? And it is, but it needs more, and it needs more awareness about it and things. So if anyone else, if you've got a comment, a feedback, a question or anything, there's loads of incredible information there from Pat. That was fantastic. Zoe, lovely to see you. You want a quick chip in as you beamed in?
I'm just saying hi. I just saw this on pop up on my WhatsApp and thought, it's Pat, the amazing Pat. So great to see you, and hope to see you at the Green Gathering, which is next week. And so a wonderful gathering of groups coming together. So well worth going if people haven't got tickets already.
Thank you so much. What I hope you might be able to help with is to take that Lush video and turn it around by 90 degrees for us.
I can do that quite easily if you've got a video that you're doing.
So yeah, we will see you. Well, here's the story of our life. Here we are at the Earth Gathering from now till Monday. We get back next Monday. We reload on Tuesday, and Wednesday we go to the Green Gathering. We're there till the following Monday. We get back, we reload, and on the Wednesday we return to Drax Power Station for the climate camp. The first climate camp was in 2006 when it was the biggest coal-powered power station in the country. It is now the biggest burner of trees because they import with subsidy biomass, which is wood chip from clear-felled forests in Canada. So we're going back to Drax for a return to the climate camp, and that's the week after the Green Gathering, from Wednesday through to the following Wednesday. The next day, Thursday, we pitch up at the Northern Green Gathering, somewhere near Leeds. We get back from that on the Monday, reload on Tuesday, and then go to Shambhala to do a cafe in support of the Rebel Soul Cafe. And we get back from Shambhala the following Monday with 1 week to do the final organising of the Nottingham Green Festival, which is the free one-day urban green festival for 5,000 people that we're very heavily involved in. And that green festival, like with Radical Roots, like with Earth First, like with climate camps, like with Extinction Rebellion, the Nottingham Green Festival is entirely plant-based because we have been not making a big noise, but behind the scenes, we've been embedded within those campaigns, just quietly drip, drip, drip the message about climate, animals, the environment, human rights, peace, and all those things. And so when veganism suddenly became a thing, when JC and Beyonce adopted the vegan diet, apparently that was the moment it kind of all clicked. But we've been doing the drip, drip, drip over the 40 years, over the 30, 50, 25 years until that point. So we like to think that with their influence, society was ready to step up and finally understand, and to whatever level they can, be ready to adopt more of a kind of plant-based and vegan lifestyle themselves. So rambling a bit there. Yeah, so that's
it's really important. It's really important, Pat. I mean, just what you just reeled off there, you are relentless networkers, and just, hats off from another relentless networker myself. I thought I was relentless. We just reeled off that many, and I get tired at about 5 festivals nowadays.
Well, I am slowing down. I've got to say, I've got
just to say, you calm me down.
I was going to say we've got 3 days, 3 24-hour days in Nottingham in the next 33 days. So it's right, we are relentless. Now, it's got to be said that we are struggling. We are so relentless. I've retired. Others have stepped up to do the kind of day-to-day stuff, but we do so much that we're great danger of burning out. I've managed to keep this going myself for 40 years, but I am ready to slow down a bit. We do need more people in Nottingham to step up and share the load, because we can't be doing this for another 40 years. Well, A, because the planet will be doomed. I mean, with our help, it'd be slightly less doomed, but it will still be doomed unless more people step up. And we do need some good people in Nottingham to help us behind the scenes. So when we have 24 hours to come back from one event, reload and get to another event, we need hands. We also need people to join us in coordinating, maintaining the resources, maintaining the information. So anyone in Nottingham, come and join us. Back to you, Phoenix.
I just want to make a couple of points there, and anyone else who wants to have a comment or question, last little bits really here, we're towards the end of it. But one is that what turned me vegetarian when I was 19 years old was a lovely lady called Dina, and I was early on in my life, and she gave me a leaflet, and the leaflet said, if we all ate vegetables and went vegetarian, then there'll be enough food to feed the world. And it was around the time, probably 89, we come from Live Aid and all that, like you're rightly saying, they were importing grain out of Ethiopia, just like they're you guys have been networking hundreds of leaflets through hundreds of different events through decades. All of those leaflets have been picked up at various points by one person who might have made a life changing decision that this is something I can do. And they're packed with facts and information about, you know, how it's better for the environment, the climate, it's better for the animals, it's better for the humans, it's better for human rights, animal rights, everything. And you know, my question really that flows onto is how can we, you know, part of the, you know, I promoted veggie cafes through all of the 35 years of centres. I had a few, you know, lively, you know, debates with people, and we always tried to have information there about why veggie/vegan cafes were better for the environment. It is, you know, massively better for the environment. What we'd like to do is, we've got a network of 28 physical centres now. We'd like to create a succinct 10, 20 point or 2 posters that have all of the most, and you've got a lot of it on the Veggies website. So, you know, we're going to peel out for the network and anyone else and Lush and whoever can help to, if we can get the 2 sets of 10 key facts about why making a simple choice of either going vegan or reducing day by day your intake, and it can be better for the environment. And those facts and figures are incredible there. They're really moving. We're running 90 million tons of fish taken out every year, and for every kilogram of fish, 5 kilograms is thrown back into the ocean. If we can get this clearly as a printable and downloadable thing that optionally any of these autonomous centres could download and stick in their cafe, I think it would help to get round to more and more people, because a lot of these cafes are, you know, vegan/vegetarian, and with the right information can reach out to more people. So let's help each other to do that if we can. Over. That was that one. Yeah, Helen?
Trying not to be the voice of doom here, but possibly because I am not vegan, I see these things, and the first thing I saw was the picture of the American farm lots where there are billions of cattle in dry land just being fed on soy. I don't see that in England. And I think if we're pushing, rather than saying, I don't know, it causes 90% of the emissions of methane or whatever, say in America it causes that, even in England it causes 67 or whatever the figures are. I think it's the thing we get told off about in anything climatey. Don't sort of put yourself up to, don't exaggerate, don't put something out there that someone can knock down easily.
Accurate info.
Yeah, no, interestingly,
interestingly,
as you say, you don't see these feedlots in the UK. But one thing I noticed, you don't see many cows in the fields in December, because they're in their farmyard, in their yards, in their sheds, being fed food that's been grown extensively or intensively elsewhere in the UK. All these fields you see, that we see this lovely countryside growing all this food. Then they're not growing food; they're growing feed, and the feed is going to the animals, which may or may not also be in the fields. Often they're not, because you see these American systems, they are bringing feedlot to the UK with tens of thousands of cows, with hundreds of thousands of pigs, with millions of chickens. The industry are bringing those systems from America to the UK now. And yes, we do have our lovely countryside. We do see the animals in the fields, and that's wonderful. But unless we keep our eye on the ball, we will lose our countryside.
I think that's a key point as well. I mean, I had a brother who was in farming, and he got out of farming after 10 years. And he went in because he loved animals, he said, and then he left and did care work. He's now a window cleaner, but he was like, farming is fucked. It's not moving from smaller family farms that he, you know, loved and thought, you know, the rest of my family were all more military background, you say, but my brother really, you know, he got into farming and he loved animals, and he did it because he felt he was doing that end of things. But he said it's absolutely fucked, and these big mega industrial farming groups are buying up tons of land, and small family farmers that you think of more are being bought out.
I think I'm thinking more of you know, being from Yorkshire, the sheep that you see up on the North York moors and things, nothing else could eat there. It's not land that we could grow crops on, not unless we do a hell of a lot of sticking compost on it.
But
I don't know. I've had issues in land access and putting sheep on instead of people and highland clearances, but that's a much longer debate and discussion, I think, folks. We're going towards the tail end of the time. Pat, go for it, and then we're going to have final comments from anyone or
the livestock issue is partly it's about the land, the resources, the water, all the other resources that are used to grow the livestock. There's also the loss of potential by using that land that could otherwise be growing trees, including food trees. Nuts are the most productive use of the land. We all need timber. We import vast amounts of timber. People speak about the Welsh hillsides, the areas you're speaking about that can only grow sheep. They may only grow sheep, but they also may grow, I'm not an agroforester, they may also grow trees if the sheep and the livestock weren't preventing the regeneration of the land, which this country, I don't know figures, but it used to be 90% forested, back before they chopped all the trees down to build the Armada.
Bernard Drax.
Helen's on the Drax campaign as well. You might meet up next week.
It's the loss of potential of not having the land to A, grow trees, B, have wildlife, C, have countryside, because so much of the countryside is a factory producing the feed that all those other things that potentially lost.
That was the bit in the leaflet that turned me veggie, and I can't remember the exact facts, but it's basically it took 40 kilograms to feed the cow, and you could feed those 40 kilograms to people that would feed 40 people rather than going through the cow version. I mean, we need to look at all these things. Something that Pat put on the chat earlier was about rewilding some of these places that have got intensive animal agriculture now, and how that would be a big solution for climate change, because you'd get a diversity of nature and plants and trees and all the rest. But when we had what were the guys rewilding, young rewilders on a webinar a month or two ago, they were saying, you see a picture of ecological destruction, and what you see is destroyed, area, but then they showed a completely clear field with nothing on it but grass, and they said this is actually ecologically and biodiversity, this is a bit of a wasteland. There's very little going on there apart from the that plain field that was getting used for the animal farming. We really need to look at this and rewild and grow a big diversity that's going to help biodiversity, it's going to help nature and feed a lot more people. I mean, it is a lively debate and discussion, and it's a really important one, but I think where it came from originally there on the chat, and there was a lot of people supportive of it, is how do we point out that one of the biggest issues with climate change is about animal farming, and how do we, get that out to more people so that people can make informed choices and get the info out. We're about towards the end of it, guys, but has anyone else hasn't spoken want to share anything or quick comment or we are there? Hillary, Wes? Yeah, okay.
Sorry for hogging it.
All right, no worries. No, it's all good. Okay. All right, so just to say, whatever we can do wherever we are to be aware of these issues and to raise awareness, particularly, one of the biggest solutions for the environment that we can do is to look at our, what we're eating and how it's getting to us and what we can do about that and make changes in our lifestyle in whatever ways we can and our ways of eating things. I'll come over to Pat for closing comments. Thank you so much for being on the road to the Earth First Gathering and coming in here, and thank you for 40 years of dedicated service to the environmental movement, the animal rights movement, the community movement, the anti-apartheid movement, the women's movement. You guys have been there feeding the movement of movements and raising awareness with a relentless info stall, and those thousands of leaflets have caused thousands of people to think about it and to change. So over to you, Pat, for final parting comments and sum up. Thank you so much. Absolute legend. Real appreciate you coming and everything you've been doing for 40 years, and I wish we get as much help to you as possible and more climate emergency centres raising. Pat, over to you. Final comments.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for persevering. Thanks Phoenix for inviting me to do this with 3 days notice whilst on the roads to Earth First in a field with no internet connection. So yeah, it's been great. I'm so glad you could push me to do it, because those resources that I gathered together in a mad panic from midnight to 5 a.m. last night on that document. So hopefully you can go through, that document is there to share. And it has links to many things we weren't able to cover today. For example, following that little slideshow for the United Nations from 2006, there's the latest United Nations section, which is the whole encyclopedia, everything you need to know about climate change. You've got to go through 3 layers before you get a mention of food. And in the mention of food, you get a little bit of a mention of livestock, but it's still, that report done in 2006, the livestock industry have done a good job and they've suppressed so much of it. Yeah, follow through the resources, all kinds of great things there. If nothing else, go to our website. Our website is a mess because it's been growing like topsies for, I think we first went on the internet in the early 90s, and it's just kind of grown. It's been through various generations. A lot of it is lost because we haven't updated the coding. But if you can dig your way around, then you'll find loads of information, including, what I didn't mention, is in the catering section. There's all the recipes you need. There's all the guidance you need. If you want to feed 10,000 people in a field, the guidance is there on our website in the catering section, as we will be doing at Drax in 2 weeks' time. We'll be there, we'll be doing one kitchen, but hopefully there'll be a dozen other kitchens all doing what we do, which is taking the food and the message to the fellow campaigners so they can be empowered to take the message back to their communities.
Brilliant.
So,
Absolutely
thank you
legend.
so much, everybody.
I'll put the link in the chat, folks, if you
joy.
want to save it. Thank you so much, Pat. What a legend. What a legend. We'll stop the
Thank
recording
you.
now.